Hi everybody, this is Joel Kennedy with Kennedy Violins. So today's video is about tone production. How can you create the best sound on your instrument? So I've done videos before on how to avoid scratchy sound, bad sound, stuff like that. And I talked a lot about the physics of playing your instrument. Today, I really want to focus on how you want to listen to your sound and how you want to think about your sound. Now, one of the reasons why I want to do this video is because lately I've been listening to a lot of YouTube channels with adult beginners, for example, or people who have been playing for a little while. And the number one thing that I notice, besides, pitch issues, right? Because pitch is hard in violin, is sound. And when you talk to a lot of people about the quality of their sound, a lot of times they feel that the people who have great sound have two things going for them. Number one, vibrato, and number two, a great violin. However, it's not necessary to have vibrato. It does help. It's not necessary to have a great violin, but it helps. You can create really good sound even if you don't have great vibrato, or maybe you have no vibrato at all. And you don't need $1 million Stradivarius to have good sound as well. So today I want to show you how you can achieve much better sound without those two advantages. So for today's video, I'm going to try really hard not to use vibrato, although it comes automatically for me, so it can be difficult not to use vibrato, but I'm going to try not to use vibrato. So here's an example of a good foundational sound, and then I'll play poorly so you can hear the difference. Okay, so here would be some bad sound. Okay, so that's the best I can do. Okay, so what was the difference between the first example and the second example? Okay, so physics-wise, I wasn't managing the bow weight and the bow speed well, right? So we all know that good sound is basically optimizing the speed of your bow versus the weight of your bow, right? The more weight, the more speed you need. The more speed you got, the more weight you can put on, right? But it's just a ratio between those two dynamics that will determine what your violin sounds like, okay? So I did a poor job in that second example, and that's why my sound sucked. Okay, but let's talk about how to listen to your sound. Okay, so when I generate a sound, I want to visualize my sound. I want to think about what it looks like. So when you think about your sound, you want to think of your sound as being focused, and you want to think about your sound as being dense. Right? So another way to put it is you want your sound to have core, right? So your sound has got this dense core to it. Now there's a lot of different sounds that you can create, but today we're just focused on having a very clear sound with core to it. That's warm, okay? So the easiest way to practice this is to just play scales during your warm-up. So let's say I'm playing a G major scale. Okay, what I'm listening for is for the center of that sound to be as thick as possible. I'm also determining that my sound is going to be good from the beginning of the bow stroke to the end of the bow stroke. And mechanically, I want to make sure that my bow stays pretty much in the middle of that bridge and fingerboard. So mechanically speaking, you must have a straight bow, otherwise it's not going to work, okay? So if your bow's not straight, well, right off the bat, you're at a disadvantage. So Keep your bow in between that bridge and fingerboard. Make sure you listen from the beginning of the sound to the end of the sound. So the whole bow stroke, long bow strokes. What if my sound doesn't have core? That's what it sounds like. Can you hear the difference? Now, we're going through the medium of microphones, so it's not going to pick everything up perfectly, but I'm trying to exaggerate so you can hear it. Here's core. Here's a lack of core. Okay, slightly scratchy. It's hard for me to duplicate it perfectly, but I hope that you get the idea. So one is thicker, one is warmer, one is more piercing, okay? So that's having core to your sound or having a focused sound, okay? The other thing that you can think about, okay, there's two more things I want you to think about. Okay, so first is having core to your sound, having that centered sound. That center of your sound has a lot of core and it's warm. The other thing that I want you to visualize, and I've done this with my students a lot, and it works really well, but imagine how far you're throwing your sound out. Most people, especially beginners, when they're playing, they imagine that they're in this box in their mind, and their sound is somehow surrounding their violin when they play. But what I want you to do is think about throwing your sound out to somebody who's 20 or 30 feet away from you. So if you're in an apartment or wherever it is, imagine the furthest wall, there's a person over there. You're going to throw your sound out. Your sound is going to be so focused that it reaches that person and makes that person almost vibrate. Okay? So you can do an experiment. You can imagine that your bubble around your instrument's 10 feet. Then it's 20 feet, then it's 30 feet. And you can even go so far as to imagine an entire auditorium. But that's pretty difficult because most of us don't live in auditoriums. But if you live in an apartment or a house or whatever it is, throw that sound out. See that person over there. Maybe even put something across the room, right? And make sure your sound, you're listening to that sound, you've got core to your sound. It's really focused, and you're throwing that sound out to that person across the room. I can see them. Right? So that's the second thing that you can do about how to visualize your sound. First was core, focused sound with core. Number two, throw that sound out to that person who's 15, 20, 30 feet away from you on the other side of the room. Really focus on that sound from beginning to end. Really keep your bow straight. The third thing, and this is a little bit more of an advanced way to think about it, you want to focus on making your instrument ring. So a lot of times when we're, especially even advanced players, when they're trying to create a loud sound, they're not focused on making their instrument ring. They're just focused on kind of forcing the sound, forcing their violin to create this loud sound. But you don't want to think that way. You want to focus on making your instrument ring. So when you play that scale, you're feeling the vibrations of your violin. You're feeling it ring. And when your body will be it's very dependent on how you think about your sound. So if you really focus on it and focus on your instrument ringing, you want to be loud, but you don't want to force your violin to be loud. You want to enable your instrument to do what it was made to do, and that is to ring. Make it ring. So if I'm warming up with a G major scale, I'm thinking about three things. Number one, focus sound. Number two, throw that sound out to that person who's on the other side of the house. Number three, you're allowing your instrument to ring as much as possible. Okay, so now let's say we're practicing our piece. Play it really slow, perhaps slower than you can play it, and focus on those three things. Right, and keep that bow into the string. Keep the weight of that bow into the string. Now, if your bow hops around, that means you're not managing your bow well. Keep that bow into the string. You want to think of your bow as a sticky bow. It's stuck to the string. It's in the string. Okay, so those are the three ways in which I'm hoping you can think about your sound in order to generate that really great warm sound that you want. Now, if you have vibrato, all the better, okay? So the exercises, of course, are just with whatever exercises you warm up with, probably your scales. Really focus on your sound when you're playing your scales. And here's the good news. If you really are focused on your sound, your pitch will improve. Why? Because your brain is paying attention. So everything works better when you think about your sound. So guys, I hope this video helps. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. I do technical videos and play-alongs every week. So if you like the video, then like it and subscribe. And also, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments because I answer all of the comments. So with that, I hope you guys have a good time practicing and have a great day.